Yeah, great set of days. Pretty dull in terms of economic wise. We haven't really very disappointing federal FOMC meeting. We've all talked about that. So I won't go into that too much, but just really covering off what we're seeing, what we're working on, what we're doing, where we're at with 100 Days of Truth, and then sort of go into the Genius Act. Why is that so beautiful and why does that matter so much? Basically, it matters because this is going to print trillions of dollars coming into crypto. Right now, the stablecoin market is about 250 billion. The overall crypto market is about 3.5 trillion. The stable market is going to go from stable coin market is going to go from about a 250 billion to 2 trillion in the next 2 years. That is a huge amount of money. That's maybe the whole crypto industry is going to be injected with cryptocurrencies or stable coins, which are going to be the form of digital dollars, right? They're going to be dollar backed. They're going to be backed by treasuries. Anybody holding these will be allowed to mint that. And so, what does that mean? And what's the magnitude of that? And as all of you know, we've been working on nuon.fi. If you haven't been to nuon.fi, go check it out because that window is about to close pretty soon as we go back to the building board and create max cap with the front end, which is going to be shifting. So stay tuned to that. I'll get into a bit of that. But today we had a bit of an, I want to start off with something. This morning I was at the gym. As all of you know, I get to the gym really early in the morning. I go at about 5:30. So this morning got up, worked out. And while I was working out, I listened to this talk here. Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz. Oh my God. I mean, a brilliant encounter. Really, if you haven't watched it, you got to go and watch it. It's just really good. Even if you don't like Tucker Carlson, you'll really like this interview. It's really opposing opinions. It's really asking the right questions about going to war. Two tribes go to war. Are we ready to go to war? And what this really means and why are we not thinking about it? There's another one that's really good, which I also then tended up to follow, but I actually didn't think about it. I'm just thinking about it right now. But that was really with Stanford, China, Pentagon. What's the lady there? Panel, 10x Belt and Road. Yeah, so if you watch that, I would reckon that there was a really good panel at Stanford where they don't explain the Belt and Road, but they really, a lady, she used to be at the Pentagon, and she's now a professor at Stanford. And basically what she's saying, China won't get dragged into this war. Why won't China get dragged into this war? Because they see the amount of money that goes into going to war for destruction is 10x greater than just doing 10x Belt and Road initiatives, which build out huge amounts of infrastructure. Look at these initiatives, right? Look at the infrastructure that this builds out. Amazing infrastructure, lots of employment. And what do people love? All of a sudden, you're building a huge road network, huge train network in my nation. Wow, I love you for that, right? I mean, that's ultimately helping economic development in that nation and ultimately means that the nation gets rewarded for providing and doing such work. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And so you contrast that together. You look at that conversation between Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, and you can see that they don't really know what's underlying. They've got all their faith in the in Israel, back Israel, whatever they say, we go. And you can also then go and see that Netanyahu has been asking for the U.S. to go to war in where was it? Libya. It was in Iraq. It was in Afghanistan, and now it's in Iran. And each time it actually took place. And yeah, and ultimately what Iran's now saying is oil will go to $300. And what does that mean if oil goes to $300? The biggest supplier of oil to China is Iran. So Iran is supplying oil to China, $300 a barrel. China needs oil for energy. At least now it still does. Where is that going to go? What does that mean? I think those are all going to be interesting points of conversation. Those 3 points around where we're at with Iran. We do not want an Iran with nuclear weapons, for sure not, right? We don't want to go to World War III. there are a lot of statements bubbling up that are saying Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons and there is no intention to build nuclear weapons. And we saw what happened in Iraq, the weapons of mass destruction that never were, that never was. Is that really the case? We did get rid of Saddam Hussein, we did get rid of Gaddafi. That actually all had a significant impact in the whole region, calming down and getting a bit quieter. So maybe that's what we need to just calm everybody down, get them quieter. And does that mean we need to take out everybody? Ultimately, it seems to be the case. But anyway, I don't want to have an opinion there because I don't know enough. It's been bubbling for so long. And what I'm seeing right now is that the whole world is just continuing to move on and not really taking that what is going on in the Middle East between Iran, the US, Israel, and the rest of Middle East into account because it's just so distant and it's been ongoing for decades and decades. And yeah, it's just remote. We watch it on TV. We don't really connect to it. Very similar to the Ukraine and Russia activity. So yeah, that was just really surprising to me. And yeah, just something we want to be aware of. And let's hope they can clean it up. Obviously, if you're living in Israel, if you're living in Iran, you're in a hell, right? I mean, that has got to be the worst experience right now. Thanks to the Iron Dome, most of our friends in Israel are safe. But if it weren't for that, that would definitely not be very a good spot to be. And if you're in Iran, you're going through the same problems. You know, a regime change, I believe, like always, has to come from within. How do we help the guys from within drive that regime change? That's really what I'd love to see, and how we can make that happen would be amazing. Anyway, that's enough on that. You know, I think the other element that was really interesting to me is neutrality. There is a channel that I've been looking at and just stumbled upon, and it's called Neutrality Studies. And, you know, it's really talking about how the EU is doomed. And they were talking about the censorship that's coming up in the EU, how Kaila Kallas, the lady who is really putting sanctions on individuals for expressing their opinion, right? Literally Germans, Turkish people, that are actually going out and doing journalism of what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in Russia, and actually getting insights and acquiring those insights and sharing those insights either by vlogs, whatever, video on YouTube, etc. And so there, you know, here you can see just some of what is really going on and how people, yeah, just can't handle a different of opinion anymore. It's really, what I love is this discussion, this debate. We can have a debate, we can get heated, but we can all calm down again, and get back to business. And I think that's what's needed. Anyway, he's really going on. EU is doomed. Yeah, he's. It was, I can't find the video anymore, but it was really about how they are sanctioning individuals. What is the cost of that? Here you go. Yeah. Here he goes.
Hello, everybody. The European Union is starting to sanction its own people. And
yeah, so here you go. You can watch that. That's another way. Very depressing, not very exciting. But again, you know, coming back to, obviously, we have to talk about the FOMC meeting. Why did they not drop interest rates, right? We know everybody, sentiment is down, right? People are not happy. People don't have hope in the future right now, unless you're an executive hired in the tech industry, working in the tech industry, already got a job and experience in the tech industry. It's really hard to find your way out of this. And most of the population don't yet have that position and that opportunity in front of them. So they're disappointed, hence the sentiment is down. Small, medium businesses, CEOs are not getting their investment because interest rates are still high. You can't refinance your housing because mortgage rates are still really high because interest rates are high. All of those elements are impeding on the economy. And at the same time, costs are starting to climb. And we're seeing that on inflation, Truflation, right? You could see that on Truflation. We're seeing a slow pickup. We're now above 2% again. We were all the way down. And now he's going to miss the whole boat of being able to drop interest rates, be able to issue 10-year bonds, 10, 20-year bonds at lower interest rates by 1% or something, which has a huge impact. And you can see the Trump when he goes on stage and tells him too late, Jerome has missed the boat and is costing, I think, $800 billion a year in interest payments. So yeah, that's just the difference of interest payments, right? By dropping it. Will he drop it in July? No way. Why? Because we know that truflation is a 45-day lead time. If you've got that 45-day lead time, inflation's going to pick up again. Why would you do that, right? Why would that happen? And so, yeah, we've been working on really sort of, just trying to get truflation in front of the government. As you know, we wrote the letter to the government to say that they should be using Truflation and the Truth Network. But here he asks specifically, I'm going to play this little clip, and he's going to be asking specifically for the ability to share, get more data. And what we want to say is, and this was pointed out by one of you, so really happy to have our community share with us and tell us what to do. This was, who was this? Mirko. Thank you, Mirko, for sharing this with us. But yeah, look, let me just highlight this. You can see my screen now. Perfect. And here, let's just go listen.
When you say estimate of the impact of tariffs on the core PCE, is that what it is? Would you start with?
So what's the impact of tariffs on core PCE is the question. And what is core PCE? PCE tracks the movement of not prices of goods, but the price of consumption of those goods, right? So you can replace coffee with tea. And so that's why they take things like coffee out of the calculation and things like that. And so anyway, so what is the core PCE? So that includes no electricity, no housing, so all the things that you need to survive, but yeah, no food. This is really weird, but this is one of their mumbo jumbo definitions that they use.
Is what's the effective tariff rate overall, and people are managing to that. But the pass through of tariffs to consumer price inflation is a whole process that's very uncertain. As you know, there are many parties in that chain. There's the manufacturer, the exporter, the importer, the retailer, and the consumer. And each one of those is going to be trying not to be the one to pay for the tariff, but together they will all pay for it together, or maybe one party will pay it all. But that process is very hard to predict, and we haven't been through a situation like this. And I think we have to be humble about our ability to forecast it. So that's why we need to see some actual data to make better decisions. We'd like to get some more data, and again, in the meantime, we can do that because the economy remains in solid condition.
So they need to get more data. Go to the Truth Network. We have the data, right? You can see here. Oh, what's going on? Can you guys see me, or you can't see me? Am I live or I'm not live? I don't know what's going on here. It should be live. Yeah, it's live. It's all working. I don't know. Somebody's just trying to call me. I don't know what's going on. Anything going on? Let's just see. Sorry, somebody's just trying to call me. What's up? I think maybe it was you're not live on X. Why am I not live on X? Damn it. Okay, there you go. Shit. Sorry, I'm not live on X. Now I am. Damn it. Yeah, I forgot to hit the record button. Just too much going on, guys. Sorry about that. But now we're live. Here we go. I'm going to go on here. But yeah, you can see here on the video that Powell is talking. He's asking for better data, more insights into and across the value chain. And as we know at Truflation, we've been building out our data source, right? Look at the amount of data sources that we have right now, right? So you can see right here what we've got. I'll share this tab here. Look at just don't trust, verify. What we've built on the Truth Network is all of the data is available. Anybody can go and access it. But if you want verified data, who's this coming from? Is it accurate? Is it what they say it is? Is the calculation verified because it's coming from this source? All of that is verified on chain, cryptographically verified. And that's using SQL development. So you do not need to learn how to program. 60% of all developers around the world already know how to work with SQL, number one. Number two, you do not need to index the data. Take it off chain because it's indexed recalculate, write a function, index it again using Squid or Graph, and then post it back to chain. Man, ma fun, as they say in Chinese. And so now you look at that. What am I going to do now and next? With SQL, I don't need to do anything. I can write the function straight to the SQL chain and have it verified that it's from my address, my wallet, and all of that is possible. But all of these data sets, as you know, 100 million plus data sets across India, Argentina, China, UK, and the US, no China data. But yeah, all of that is growing out of the network. And we're getting consumers that are starting to consume this. So we have Truflation that's selling this to banks, that's selling this to research houses. We've got connected to blockchains, Plume, that's being used on Cultured. Our predictions and indexes are being made as on those prediction markets. It's available on Index.Fun. I shared with you what Index.Fun is doing and is going live in a couple of weeks. It's already live on Sonic, going live on Solana. And then you've got Ethereum. You've got all of these chains. We've got Frax FPI, and on Frax chain, DYDX, Synthetics. I mean, you can see all the brands here, but these are entities that need verified data. And this is also available to Jerome Powell. You can use this across your blockchain. So we'll write another response to Mr. Powell himself so he can see that. But yeah, just to look at what we're doing and how valuable and how important this data set is. And this is the ecosystem that we've been building. Nobody knows about this. This is so not known of all the work that we're doing. And that's why we have the 100 Days of Truth. And what are we doing in the 100 Days of Truth? We're sharing all the things that we've been working on and are continuing to work on every single day. And we are announcing something every day. I think we're in day 23. So we're 3 weeks in to these 100 Days of Truth, and it's going to up the volume. The volume's going to get bigger because the partnerships and the announcements we're going to be making are going to be bigger. You're going to see bigger announcements. This is just the beginning, guys. This isn't it. And again, here, why is it so easy and why is it so beautiful to work with the Truth Network? It's all using PostgreSQL. We have the Roadrunner consensus algorithm. So when you build functions, you can use the Roadrunner algorithm, which is fast consensus obtaining, BFT, cryptographically verifiable truth associated with the source of the data and the computation associated with that data, e.g. the indexes. So that's really what we've been working on and continue to work on. And, Truflation's been really good with its forecasting. You still know these numbers, but I'm going to remind you about it. What is it? It's telling you that right now we are 45 days ahead of everybody, right? You can see here that we have a lead time of 45 days on average. This is why companies like this is why people like our data, right? They like it because they get a 45-day lead time. And what does that do? That allows them to identify that if you slow it down, if you combine it from 12 sources into 6, you can then actually correlate that and compute to match that of what the BLS is going to announce. That is what the team and the data team at Truflation have been doing all the time, and they do that every month, accurate and more accurate. That's what people need to subscribe to, right? And if you look at what is going on, this is not the deck I want to share with you guys, but back to files. But now that you've only started 10 minutes later, I can go a bit more 10 minutes longer. Here, this is the deck I want to share with you. We just shared this earlier this morning with another potential customer, but here, this is truth. We've got the source of truth. Why we set this up? We set this up because they were lying to us and very boring. They are working themselves into obsoleteness. The FOMC is going to become less and less relevant. Why? Because now with the stablecoin initiative, a lot of their jurisdiction goes UCC. That's what matters. And they will be much more at a state level where the decisions are going to be made. And anybody that has treasury can now issue a digital stablecoin. regulated by the OCC at the state level. So it's a very different ballgame we're talking about. And how important will these guys be? We've done this across for inflation. We've done this across the multiple markets. Why did we focus on inflation? Because it's the number one scorecard of a performance of an existing administration and government. We've aggregated this amount and volume of data. I've already shared it to you. All of this data sits on the Truth Network. And here, this business scales. We can take this across 12 categories, apply different weighting to each of the categories in each of the countries as it pertains to the spending patterns associated with census-based data sets in those markets. So in the US, 23% of the household spending goes towards rent and housing, 20% to food. In India, it's 35% goes to housing and only 13% to food. So you can see the scales, it changes, but only based on the weighting. And so these are some of the customers that use our data sets. And they use it because we have all of these sources. We have a unique basket of data providers that are all credible, that you may like, you may not like, but you need them in order to be able to calculate accurate inflation and the rising costs. They range from CastBuddy all the way to Volvo, to Tesla, to Kantar, big aggregator. So people like it because we aggregate all of these data sets in real time, which is why you have the 45-day lead time. This is why they like it, because of the 45-day lead time. That really allows them to make investment decisions 45 days in advance to anybody else. And I'll get to you what that means. And so here, and you can see if you dumb it down, slow it down, pull back the brakes, handbrake on, you can then actually slow down the car and figure out how to compile this and compose what is the actual government going to be calculating and what is the outcome of that. That's why we have a 99.94% accuracy. That went up again because in May we got it right. If you were following Truflation, and if you're not, that's too bad. Sign up to our newsletter, follow the link, smash the likes, and hit the alert button. That's how you stay aware and follow us on Twitter, right? X.com. So really, those are the two big channels that we use. And if you really like, subscribe to the service. Why? Because you get alpha. You get to interpret. What do I do with this 45-day lead time? How do I work with that? What can I do to invest in that? Here you can see how accurate we are. On the left, we're the best. We have the lowest error rate. So this is error rate, right? We're changing this around so it's better visual. But what do people like? They like to trade on specific products. Here you can see the biggest impact was when we shared how to interpret Truflation as a leading indicator to help you with investments in Bitcoin, when to buy, when price goes up, and when to enter into the market. And you saw that here when we put all of that together in a detailed blog post. If you haven't, go check it out. This gives you really good insights in terms of how to trade. Here, the first instance, when you could have bought between September 28th and October 10th, we hit a bottom at Truflation, and that was a signal to buy. Bitcoin rallies right short after, right? And you see the same, the second instance, a month later, all of a sudden we hit new lows. Boom, another new rise, right? So third instance, nearly another month later or 2 months later, boom, another set of rising prices and surges in Bitcoin. And so all of that has happened, and you have 5 instances. Are we in front of one now? And we are. Remember, when we did this, this was $90,000 a Bitcoin. Where are we now? 105,000. So we predicted it going up. We were at a bottom. You can see very clearly we were below 1.4% in terms of Truflation. Now we're up. We're up at 2%, right? So there was an uptrend, and we highlighted that here for you. So you could have bought Bitcoin at 90,000 and you'd now be at 105,000. So those are things that we try to share with the community. It's our analysis. It's not a forecast. We're not telling you to do it. We're giving you the tools to be able to do your own calculations. And this is how we recommend you interpret. We make our own bets according to this. Our team is pulling together and enabling you and other investors to participate in something. So we're working on Project Supernova, which we've already shared some of the activities with you. Stay tuned. There's going to be more announcements around Supernova, and we'll share about. That's all in the 100 Days of Truth. I told you there's bigger news coming, and right now we are really just working away and building away. So Project Supernova is something that I implore you to stay aware of. So we also talk about, in this presentation, we talk about other asset classes. How and what do inflation traders do when they see Truflation and what they can do with the Truflation lead time? And yeah, and so one of the things here is you can see that we have the BLS and we have the 10-year bond yield, right? So those are other elements. And we have the Dixie, right? So the BLS is snooze, snooze, always later, no indication. You trade on the day they make the announcement, and you've got 1 second to trade. Man, who cares about that, right? You're just really sitting at knife's edge. You've got to watch all of these Jerome Powell snoozer calls. You fall asleep, you know, it's like that's... he's got no balls, no insights, working with old data. He even says it. I don't have accurate data. It's so complicated. It's like, dude, we aggregate 100 million data sets. We have a community of 100 different providers. How can you say it's difficult? You know, you have 2,000 employees sitting at the BLS trying to help you aggregate this data together, and you can't work with that? Your two mandates are inflation, keeping cost intact, and labor. That's all you've got to worry about. I mean, I don't know why it's so difficult. Use the Truth Network. This is where your source of truth can come from. It's cryptographically verified. You can find the originator and you can work with them. Or you can just have Truflation. We're happy to sit down at a table and help frame that out and get that going. But yeah, that's what people like. And so we're going to share with you very soon the Dixie. What is the Dixie? It's the dollar against a basket of 6 other currencies. And how does Truflation work against that? What can you do associated with that? So here, pre-insight, this is only going to be disclosed to subscribers. So if you're a premium subscriber, you will get this first, and you will get a webinar associated with this. So this is coming out. I'm just going to give you some insight. So we're doing, again, a detailed analysis on terms of how you can trade the Dixie with Truflation. So you'll be finding when to go in, when to go out, when to buy the dollar, when to sell the dollar, when to buy the Dixie. Do you trade? Do you forward it? Do you hedge it? Do you lever up? This is all in the fiat world. So this has nothing to do with crypto, but this ultimately is huge markets and is another way to participate in the ecosystem. So that's really what the team's working on. So if you are a subscriber, you want to be a subscriber, sign up, get exclusive newsletters, and you can then get the insights in webinars where you can then also talk to the data team in terms of how they calculated it, what their thoughts are. And by the way, again, as a part of Project Supernova, we're building out this strategy where you will be able to participate in on a self-custodial basis in a certain reward scheme that is taking and working around this strategy associated with Bitcoin, not with Dixie, with the Bitcoin. So yeah, that's sort of really what we're working on. That's just some of the activity. We talked about the 100 Days of Truth. We're 23. What did we announce in the 100 Days of Truth? You can see here, we looked at, where is it? Yeah, we launched today. Yeah, oh man, we did so much over the last couple of days. So one thing we launched was Hello World. We launched version 2. Truth Network V2 is now live on day 23 of our 100 Days of Truth. So here you can see what is V2, what does it enable. Here you can read up about it. I've already talked to you a lot about the Truth Network, all the partners that are there. So go check it out. It's a modular architecture. You have huge performance gains. So the response times are super fast in milliseconds. Node onboarding, it's really simple to get a node set up. We are working on the billing that's coming next, right? So all the transactions, if you want to write and have and consume verified data, you need tokens, right? And so you need to get the Truth network and ultimately driving utility for the network. That's what we've got. We also launched some of these indexes. So thanks to the Truth network, you can now trade AI indexes. So Truflation has developed together with the digital asset solutions team a AI index, DEAI index, so Gen AI. So now you can go and trade this on Limitless. Limitless Exchange is a prediction market on the base ecosystem. So here you can come and trade activity on here. And here you can see Truflation. There's a whole tab dedicated to Truflation. So the first two indexes there are the meme coin index and the AI index. So you can trade up. People already $339. Are you going to bet on this? Up, down? Yes, $100. I can put $20 or $100 onto this and then sign in to buy. I haven't signed up. I'm not on the right computer, but on the other ones, I'm now going to go and put the meme coin up there. I didn't know meme coin was already up there, but that's going to wow, the team is moving faster than we can even announce it. Yeah, so there you go. Go trade. Truflation on Limitless Exchange. Predict whether meme coins are going to go up or down. Or what do you think? AI narrative, has that taken control? Is that going up versus down? So those are things that the team have been working on in addition to launching V2. So that's now live and really good to see the Truth Network giving Limitless verified data from Truflation that has partnered with the digital asset solution to bring sophisticated index products to the market. So now you can do binary options on some of these indexes. We've been talking about this for a while. It's now live. So go trade this, guys. It's now up to you to help drive traffic and volume of this. What I really want to focus on is now close out on a positive note, not only all the work that we've been working on at Truflation, at the Truth Network. You've seen Index.Fund on Tuesday. Now it's about stablecoins. This Genius Act is going to accelerate the market. Remember, I shared with you last time a blog post, 2 trillion in 2 years. This was back in March, before it was even approved. What does this mean? There's a whole 10x growth scenario here. We're looking at all the different graphs and scenarios here, what this means, etc. You're seeing companies like Walmart, Amazon, start exploring the issue of their own stablecoin because based on this Genius Act. And thanks to Marty Party for sharing the summary associated with it. Who can issue stablecoins, qualification factors, reserves, redemption disclosure, preemption. So they only need to disclose once a month. Issuers must publish a monthly audited reserve report plus an annual independent audit. So, wow, I mean, it's only once a month. They don't need real time. It's just once a month. So guess what's going to happen? They're going to mint a whole bunch of stable coins. And at the end of each month, they're going to go to repo markets and immediately buy assets to back the stable coins that they have in circulation. Just saying, that's a possibility. Yeah, reserves and private key must be held with an FDIC, NCUA bank. So yeah, I mean, Amazon already has its money at an FDIC approved bank. They already have most probably got bonds sitting there. Those bonds can now be used to mint stablecoins called Amazon. And by the way, you can then go to any exchange and trade them. They can allow you to pay at all of their outlets with Amazon. They can give you reward points in Amazon coins. All of that is now going to be possible, much more efficient. They don't need to pay credit card fees. They don't need to pay bank fees. They can do it all directly themselves. And ooh, by the way, I can send anybody around the world Amazon coins so you can then buy on Amazon and use that. So all of a sudden, and maybe I'll be able to swap my Amazon dollars against USDT, etc. Right? So all of those things will start to kick in. And you know, we've launched Nuon.fi. So Nuon.fi is a inflation protected stablecoin. That is what your receipt is when you participate in Nuon stablecoin. You can get a high staking APY because we have a promotional period right now. And this promotional period will be grandfathered until for another short period of time. I'm not going to steal too much, but you have to take advantage of it now because it's not going to be around for too much longer. Why? Because there's a bit of a change coming on the experience that we are providing and the market that we have identified that we are going after very soon. But here you can see you've got a huge APY paid out largely in max cap, right? So Truflation APY is only 2.1%. I told you that Truflation, you go to truflation.com, you'll see that up there, Nuon rewards. So there's extra rewards in Nuon, which is a dollar equivalent, 1-to-1 backed by dollars, right? So you can at any time. Why is that? Because the protocol is outperforming Truflation. How is that happening? Why is that happening? So here, quick summary. We have two different tokens on at play. So this is just a quick precursor. So this is where the change and direction's going. You have LPs. LP participants have the Nuon protocol. GP participants are those that help drive and influence the direction of the assets under the self-custodied vaults, how they get allocated to generate the yield. They are all obviously within a framework. Why do people like this, right? Because ultimately there are so many smart DeFi individuals out there. They now have the chance to influence and help drive where other people make money by doing this and achieving this, but also have money at risk. So you have to be smart about it. But also you as a user don't want to be worried about where do I go? Which protocol do I have to be on? Which wallet do I need to integrate? Which pool do I need to go into? Is that a risky pool? Is that a good pool? Is that realistic? A 227,000 pool percent APY? How is that even possible? Et cetera, et cetera. A lot bonding periods, variable APYs, they change as more people participate. Do you want to be a part of that? Too complicated, right? Again, so how do we fix that, right? And so we've launched two different types of tokens, the Nuon token and the max cap token. But this is how it works, right? So you get a Nuon token by staking and depositing your USDT. This is all self-custodied, audited, and available live. We are going to actually just change this and make this possible. It's already live. We're changing the front end. That's all we're doing so that it becomes much better and much more friendly. But just imagine in the background, how do you generate inflation? Inflation is generated by a pool of Aave. 20% of that dollar goes to Aave. Another 20% goes into inflation correlated reserves, commodities. Commodities are backing your Nuon. And the commodities, look at gold. Gold is an all-time high. Bitcoin's going to be at an all-time high. You've got tokenized oil. Oil is nearly at an all-time high. S&P 500, all-time high. So these are assets that are growing. It's fully transparent. You have a whole analytics dashboard that at any time you can look at any of the vaults and you can see the portfolio breakdown of that. And then there's the last part. So we said 2020, so maybe that's 40, but you as a participant can also vote how much should go into which category. And the GP, who is the GP? What the fuck is a GP? GP is general partner, right? These are the people that help influence the direction of where and how funds cross-chain should be allocated to achieve maximum yield cross-chain. And here you can see a number of different partners that we're working with and have announced in terms of how to achieve a yield that beats Truflation. The more it beats and outperforms Truflation, the more return there is for all the participants. Obviously also for the GPs who are taking the decision. They also are putting their max cap tokens at risk. They risk having those slashed if they don't perform. And they obviously, they don't perform to the set of their not hitting Truflation. And that's the hurdle rate, right? So there's another term in the industry called hurdle rate. So check that out. But what do? They basically come to the protocol. They stake 100, let's say 1,000 max cap for a year. They get a 4x boost in voting power. But then they've locked it up for a year and it secures the protocol for a year. People can then vote into the various different pools and decide, do they like this? Do they not? And people can countervote. This then gets aggregated together and then the funds get allocated. Again, all fully transparent. You can then see how it gets allocated. And here, if they underperform, they get penalized with a multiplier. And if they overperform, they equally get rewarded accordingly. So that's what it's really going to be about over at Nuon. So hurry, participate now while you still can, because that window is going to be closing. I don't know the timing. The team is managing that. I'm just giving you a bit of a heads up that that's coming. So I would get into the chat groups, sign up, follow Nuon, and there is going to be a grandfathering period for everybody into this. You will always be able to withdraw your funds. So if you have money staked there, you can always withdraw. That is their key. So redemption is always possible. And remember, redemption is 1-to-1. So you can always, one Nuon, you get one USDC back. And obviously your Nuon is constantly rebased. So it rises in value. And if you stake your Nuon, it gets wrapped and the value of the staked Nuon goes up in contrast to the normal Nuon. The wrapped Nuon will have a premium to the existing Nuon. Why? Because the wrapped Nuon is where the rebasing goes to. And otherwise, your Nuon, if you hold it, it gets rebased automatically. But keep it in a self-custodied wallet, because the rewards go to the contract address that is holding the Nuon. So if you stake it on a exchange, or you put it into a centralized exchange, or you put it onto a centralized custody service, they are going to get the rewards. And we have not talked yet, or the Nuon team have not yet talked to everybody to be able to then have that ready for updating through those platforms. But that will come over time. It's just a small team that is building this right now, and they're making sure safety and user experience matter. So that's really their top two priorities. That's what they're working on. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that. That's it today. It's Thursday. I'll be back again next Tuesday. We've got a couple more podcasts that we're just doing. We've got exciting times, lots to announce. We'll be announcing a lot more. So stay tuned. Please subscribe, like, hit the alert button, sign up to Truflation.com and get rewarded. And if you want to build, check out the Truth Network and build around that. If you want indexes on your prediction market, in your exchange, let us know. We'd love to make sure that we can bring indexes to we believe that that index market on chain is going to boom. It is, with all these stable coins coming in, where are people going to be putting their money? They're going to be putting it not into your individual meme coin, but maybe a meme coin index. Why? Because that way they're hedged. They like the meme coin narrative. They believe culture coins are really what's going to matter. I'm going to get into meme coin. The culture is what matters to me, but I don't know which culture I really want to ape into. So I'm going to buy a basket of cultures and learn through that how and which culture really resonates with me. Then I'm going to go into Dog with Hat. I'm going to go into Pepe, whatever I'm going to go into. But then I can do all of those elements. So stay tuned. I can talk. I'm on a roll. I love what I do. We're all super passionate, and we're in a pursuit of our passion. Without the passion, without the direction and the mission that we all have at the Truth Network and within Laguna Labs, this is what keeps us going. This is what gives us energy. And this is really where we see the opportunity. And this is what gets us up every day with the same kind of energy that hopefully you can feel when you hear these podcasts. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing weekend and stay safe. For all of you that I know in any of the neighborhoods. And anyway, just stay safe, trade safely, be careful, do your research first, and look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.